All right, welcome everyone to this first Q&A session of the week. Today is Monday, August 16th. I am in the streets of Tijuana, Mexico, and we're about to do some Q&A. We got about 25 minutes, and that's all unfortunately I can spare today. I'll try to do it tomorrow or Wednesday. We'll do my best. I want to make up for last week. We got a bunch of questions. None of them are actually trading related. So we're going to keep the camera on. Why is COVID related to 1984? 1984 is one of the greatest books of all time, written by a man named George Orwell, one of the greatest writers of all time. He has two incredible books. One is called 1984 and one is called Animal Farm. Animal Farm is about the Russian Revolution and the descent into communism. 1984 is a total totalitarian dictatorship of the world by governments using technology called Big Brother. So Big Brother watches everything you do and controls everything you read and controls all the information. And 1984 is one of the greatest books of all time. 1984 and Animal Farm are my two favorite books I've ever read, or any movie that I've seen from books. So you must read 1984, and then you will understand why COVID is compared to 1984. If you have not read that book, I don't care what you have to do the rest of the day, but you better start reading it now. What did you learn about the lionfish? Why are they so dangerous? So the lionfish are native to Japan, but a bunch of people in the US liked having them in their fish tanks. And eventually, fish in fish tanks starts to eat all your other fish. And you're like, well, this is bad. So what am I going to do? I don't want to kill this lionfish. I'm just going to dump it in the ocean. So guess what happens? The lionfish have invaded the the west side of the Atlantic Ocean, where all the Caribbean reefs are. And this fish has absolutely no natural predators. It spawns 1,000 eggs at a time. Those eggs have a coating that makes it unpleasant for other fish to eat. So fish has no predators, and it kills all beautiful wildlife in the Caribbean fish. And that kills the coral. I mean, basically, stop worrying about the goddamn car releasing CO2 and start worrying about the lionfish destroying the corals in the Atlantic Ocean, and the world isn't creating enough oxygen. That's a problem. That's a real problem. You're not going to be able to grow enough trees to make up for the lack of oxygen coming out of the ocean, though the oceans also produce carbon dioxide. So that is the real threat to the human ecosystem, is lionfish, which have no natural predators, and introducing predators to lionfish can only make things worse. So there's going to be I'm going to join this mission to try to get lionfish as a delicacy, to try and stimulate more global demand to eat the lionfish. It's also kind of poisonous if you run into it in the wild, but not when you eat it. So it's not like the puffer fish, or the blowfish. So you can actually eat the lionfish. You got to take the poisonous spikes off the fish before you cook it, which is easy to do for any chef. It doesn't require any special licensing. So it's a really fascinating topic. Don't you think socialism always leads to communism later? Usually, but you don't want to risk that. You don't want to take that chance. The socialism going on in the Scandinavian countries, Sweden, Denmark, Finland, what else is there? What am I missing? Norway, especially Norway. The socialism there has not led to communism. But look at Australia. The socialism in Australia is leading to straight up communism. You got to stop thinking of communism as a political system. You need to start thinking of communism as an authoritarian dictatorship. And when you start thinking of communism as an authoritarian dictatorship, it doesn't matter if it's fascism or Nazism or communism. It's authoritarian dictatorship. And it's irrelevant what the political definition is in the dictionary. Who the hell cares? The point is this: communism is a form of authoritarian dictatorship where you have no freedom. It's the same under the Nazi regime. It's the same under Stalin and Lenin and Khrushchev. In Russia, it was the same under Mao. It's the same under the Jong Uns in North Korea. It's the same under the Castros. It's the same in Venezuela. It doesn't matter what you call it politically to match a dictionary definition. All of that is irrelevant. There is zero difference between what the Nazis did and what Stalin did. They just hated each other and they went to war against each other, okay? Because both of them wanted to dominate the world. That's the important part. So does socialism lead to communism? Usually socialism eventually leads to full authoritarian dictatorship, but that has not yet happened in the Nordic countries. Am I wrong, Jimmy? Okay. I got a fact check. I got a fact checker right sitting right in front of me. I just got fact checked and I'm correct.
Coral reefs are one of the important things on the planet. Coral reefs are one of the most important things on the planet.
Oh, the coral reefs. Oh, I was talking about the communism part.
Oh yeah, of course.
And he agrees with me on the coral. He's a diver.
Yeah.
He's a diver. 1,000 hours diver.
Yeah.
In your opinion, for a young person, what do you suggest? Renting a house or buying it on mortgage? I suggest rent. I suggest rent. I know home ownership is important, but I suggest rent. I would rent. I would live. I want the mobility. The problem with buying a house is that you are locked in. You are stuck and you become a slave to the house. I would rather rent. I'd rather rent at the moment. Unless you're trying to seriously diversify your assets. If you have more Bitcoin that you know what to do with, then you may want to start buying up some land. Or if you have a real passion or you have a real vision, like Jimmy here sitting in front of me is spending some coin building out a Satoshi Citadel in Mexico because it's too important. Like you need something more than, I don't want to pay a few extra $1,000 a year on rent. No, it's totally worth it. Unless you have some kind of a passion or a vision, or you're starting a family and you want stability for your kids, which I also wouldn't agree with at the moment because I'd rather have the mobility. I understand Bitcoin is unconfiscatable, but on a realistic basis, when they want to come after you, they like to have other means like forcing imprisonment. Yes, of course. So the United States, you know, for all of its freedoms, its laws can get really, really shitty. The worst thing about American laws is this concept of contempt of court, which was initially used to prevent people from withholding evidence. But the concept of contempt of court has been abused by so many judges to where if the judge doesn't like you and he wants you to produce something that you may or may not even have, he can put you in jail until you produce shit to his liking. That's one way they can do it. Another way they can do it is they can threaten you with a 30-year prison sentence for lying to federal authorities. So if some federal agent shows up at your door with a subpoena that says, I want to see every single email you have about these topics, and these topics are very, very broad. I want to see every email you have about Bitcoin. And then you may or may not know whether you've already been monitored and whether your system has already been hacked by the FBI. So it's possible they already know what you have. And they come to you and say, hey, give us this evidence. And then you don't give them the evidence. And then they say, well, now we know that you lied to us. So now you're going to face 30 years in prison. So you got one more shot to give us everything you got. So these are the kinds of tactics that the United States uses. And the best way to avoid this is to dump the goddamn passport. The president doesn't even know what planet he lives on. And the one that's going to take over is worse. So this really is the time to think about your choices. And I know what I'm doing, but I can't talk about what I'm doing, because if I talk publicly about what I'm doing, I may not be able to achieve the ultimate plan. So I will keep my ideas to myself, and eventually I'll let you guys know what my plans are. I'm probably going to stick around for the next election, and we'll see what happens. But if a communist gets reelected in the next election, I don't think it's going to be pretty in America. And if there is a civil war, I don't know if I want to be around for it. So I'd rather be somewhere else. I tried to peacefully protest on January 6th, and I could have gotten a knock on my door just for being there. You know, like the US has now taken political prisoners. There is no freedom of speech anymore. You get totally censored. There's no science anymore. You know, everything that my family fought to come to America for has been completely destroyed. And it didn't take very long. And it's all because of socialism and socialist ideas that are leading to tyrannical dictatorship. I'd rather be down here in Mexico. I'm happy that wall went up, actually. It's going to keep a lot of the communists out of Mexico. Is gluten bad for our health? Yes. But I'm not a doctor, and the answer is yes. I'm happy to be sued by a doctor. The answer is yes. Stop eating gluten. Say, for example, the biggest bank in the country is collapsing. Do you think government should come for a bailout? If the biggest bank is collapsing, government should come and put the senior management of that bank, whether the current one or the prior one or the one before that, whichever one was actually responsible for the banking collapse, and the bank should put those people in prison, or at least take away all of their money. In that case, I'm okay with that, because they were supposed to run a bank for the people and they lost people's money. So that's start number one. Start number two, the investors in that bank need to take the biggest risk. So they're going to take a hit. Now, I do believe that it is the government's responsibility to bail out the people that have money with that bank, to support the small businesses that would go under if the bank goes under. See, our government doesn't give a fuck about small businesses. The government let the small businesses collapse for the advantage of the large corporations. That's what the COVID lockdowns were. If it was a government for the people, they would prioritize small business ahead of prioritizing large corporations like Amazon and propping them up. So I do believe that the people, there should be a bailout for the people, but in some form, not handing them money either, but there should be loan facilities, or there should be some relief. Like, I hated the fact that the government was giving people money when COVID shut down their businesses. I would have rather have the government say that you don't have to pay your rents, but the landlords also don't have to pay their mortgage. So you put a freeze on that. You put a freeze on both mortgages and rents. This way, the landlord isn't, or you cut the rent, you know, like you lower the rent by 75%, and you allow the small business owners, who are also landlords, they're small business owners, to delay their mortgage payments. So that's how it should be done. I don't believe in handing out money, but I believe in supporting. So something like that. So for if a bank is collapsing, a big bank is collapsing, and small businesses are about to go under, then there could be a bailout in a form of, hey, you know what? You're a small business. You just lost your line of credit because the bank collapsed. Now we will give you a line of credit that you will have to eventually pay back, so you don't have to depend on the bank. We will also, reduce your rent or mortgage payment until the economy can recover, but that has to progress down the line. If you are a business owner that has a mortgage, you get a break on that mortgage. If you are a business owner that rents, you get a break on the rent, but also the landlord gets a break on the mortgage. So this way, you're not handing it out. This is why I hate charities. I don't believe in charities. I think they just steal money from poor people in rich countries and hand them to rich people in poor countries. I believe in charities that actually help. So for me, the perfect charity would be something like paying people's expenses to go and help with the disaster. Let's say there is a giant earthquake in Haiti or something, and it's a disaster zone. You screen people to make sure they're not going there to take advantage of the impoverished people. And these could be people that happen to be unemployed. And hey, listen, you're unemployed. We're going to pay your expenses. You go to Haiti and you help rebuild until you can find a job, and then you don't need that anymore. So you're not actually paying people. You're just providing them with food and shelter, and they're paying for that food and shelter with developing world going through disaster relief. And you're not like a slave to it. You can leave anytime you like. What do you think, Jimmy? Oh, you're in your own world. Got it. All right, we got 3 more questions, guys, and I'm gonna have to get going. Why do you think gold broke out of its all-time high after so many years and still failed to break out miserably? What happened really? What really happened is no one gives a shit about gold, and Bitcoin is crushing gold. So gold is going to break out because there is inflation in this world, but gold is no longer a mechanism to protect your wealth, to protect your money. The gold bugs are losing to the young generation. Like the gold bugs keep trying to explain how gold is manipulated, but it's not manipulated. No one cares about gold. No one does. Just ask around. How many people in your family care about gold jewelry? Nobody does. The only reason why you want your jewelry to be gold is so that it doesn't stain your skin. And it doesn't need to be all the way gold. It needs to be coated in gold. No one cares. Gold has no longer a monetary premium. The world is not going back on a gold standard. The gold pretty much died with the invention of modern banking and electricity. And Bitcoin is taking that to the next level. So while gold will continue to adjust for inflation, and gold will break out to an all-time high again, and there may be some euphoria and some FOMO in gold, but I can see gold hitting $5,000 this decade and then falling back down to about $1,000 after. And silver is going to do even worse. All right, 2 questions left, guys. Don't you think diamonds and I don't know what solitaires are. Sorry, guys, and I'm a geologist. Artificially created diamonds are very scammy. Diamonds is just such a big scam. Diamonds are not rare. They're not that precious. They're nice and shiny. Yeah, it's on. Right. So here's how I know gold price isn't manipulated is because I can contribute to the price discovery of gold by trading futures market. How the hell am I or you going to contribute to price discovery of diamonds? We can't. There's a reason why the CME futures don't exist for diamonds, even if they adjust for carats and clarity. I believe that diamonds, like as long as women continue to be fascinated by shiny rocks, diamonds will continue to have a market. But I also think that's going to end, and Bitcoin is going to wreck that market as well. Yeah. I mean, try thinking of holding a diamond for a long term. It's not even an inflation hedge. I mean, if you're an expert in diamonds, you're gonna argue with me and you're gonna try to prove me wrong. But no one cares about diamonds, like I said. Rappers and women fascinated by shiny rocks. Coconut water should be really healthy, right? I believe coconut water is pretty healthy, but you got to get pure coconut water. It's hard to buy it in the West. My last question, guys, then we got to get going. Wow, no market questions today. It's been a fun Q&A, actually. I believe anything coconut is fairly healthy. It's not as healthy as meat and fish and avocados, but it's up there. Coconut oil, I usually like using. I mean, there's a little debate on the heating point of coconut oil and what happens, but you got to get like pure. If you're in the West and you're buying coconut water at a store, you got to buy it turns pink. Trader Joe's sells it. There's also a brand called something Harvest. Oh man, I forgot, but you got to get that really expensive coconut water. It's natural. Just take it out of a coconut, they pour it in the bottle, and that's why it turns pink. Here in Mexico, there's like, you know, guys walking around, you know, what, like 20 pesos?
Oh yeah.
20 pesos, $1, $2. We'll get you a coconut.
Pour it in a bag and put a straw in it, or they give you the coconut with straw.
I think it's great. I think the coconut meat and the coconut milk are probably a little bit healthier than the coconut water, but they're all great. I like all coconut products. I use coconut laundry detergent based from coconuts, soaps. I'm a big fan of anything coconut. It's really good for your skin too. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Been a great Q&A session. And one more look at the streets of Tijuana. And it's time for me to get going. No, thank you, Rashul. And see you on the next one. Bye, guys. All right, and we are recording this private Q&A session for Thursday, August 19th. Bitcoin is doing well. We're at $46,500. We got a bunch of questions that are not really related to trading, but I'm gonna have Mark on here with me right after these questions to talk some charts. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and start from the top, and we are back to talking about Lionfish. I gotta get that guy on the show to like give me the details. Why do you think Lionfish isn't in the natural order of things, like evolution always happens? Like it has no natural predators, but that is case with Lionfish. Yeah, so we don't have to guess, like we know why. So if you ever Google Lionfish, they look very, very cool. And what happens in the 20th century is, you know, our technology advances and it's easier to have lionfish in your home fish tank. And lionfish, people don't realize, yeah, they look really cool, but then they start killing your other fish. It's kind of like goldfish. Like goldfish will grow to enormous size because they just keep eating. And people would like, instead of killing the lionfish in their home, they would like throw them in the ocean. They're like, hey, little buddy, off you go. You keep killing my fish. I don't want you anymore. Go live a life. And that's what happened. So this started in like the 60s and 70s. And, you know, here we are 50 years later and boom, they're native to Japan. And in Japan, they're perfectly in their own habitat and they're not a menace, but they are a menace in the Atlantic Ocean, not in the Pacific. So there's no reason to guess why why they have no predators. Humans got in the way, like humans usually do. Why UN and also the USA don't do anything for Afghanistan? Generally, also, do you believe UN is bad? The second question is a little bit harder. Like, do what? Like, what do you want them to do? Drop a nuclear bomb on them? Like, what do you want them to do for Afghanistan? We should have never been there in the first place. I mean, how long are we going to stay there? I mean, Biden could have reversed Trump's plan to leave Afghanistan. He could have sent in more troops and kept occupying Afghanistan. Like, eventually you got to go. Eventually you cut your losses. I think the UN does more harm than good, but that's just my opinion.
Views on what happened. I mean, I don't really have any views on what happened in Afghanistan. So the problem is that I don't trust politicians. I don't trust politicians. I didn't see Trump as a politician. I saw Trump as an independent businessman. And I trust businessmen way more than I trust politicians. So I have absolutely no idea if the current administration purposely created havoc in Afghanistan. You see, when you deal with communist mentality, when you deal with tyrants that want to control everything, when you deal with the current administration, which may or may not be controlled by China, Biden, I believe Biden and his family are compromised, and Kamala Harris is just a terrible human being. So I don't know how malicious the situation is. Like right now, the Biden administration would love to take away America's guns. They would love to take away the Second Amendment right of guns. What's the best way to take away people's right to bear arms? Create conflict within America. If the United States is on the verge of a civil war between the red states and the blue states, the red states are the ones where the private citizens have way more guns. So now you're gonna have, and the US, and obviously the blue states control the presidency. So if there is another civil war in the United States, like there was in the 1800s, once again, it's going to be the southern states versus the US military. It's going to be the militia. It's going to be self-armed people in the red states facing off against the US military. Now, a lot of the US military is from those states, but they would need to supply themselves with guns. So it's going to be interesting. And like I said, the best way for the government to remove the Second Amendment is to create more violence. The best way to create more violence is the division of society by forcing people to have a vaccine in order to keep a job, by forcing kids of parents to wear masks, and like making like it's just horrible. It's like between the it's even hard to explain what I mean. I would never let my kid wear a mask. I would not. I wouldn't let my kid wear a mask. If I had kids like over the age of 15, they can make their own decisions on masks. If I had kids under that age, maybe age of 14 or whatever, they can make their own decisions on masks, whether they want to wear it or not. They can't make their own decisions on a vaccine. I don't give a shit what the government says that a 12-year-old can make their own decision on a vaccine. No, they can't. They can make a decision not to take the vaccine, but not to take it. So yeah, it's a double standard. I would not allow my kids to take a vaccine, and unless they're 18, I'm not going to let them make that decision on their own. So technically, the government says they can, so they can walk into a clinic and get the vaccine. But I would be, educating my kids properly to make sure they don't do that, no matter how much peer pressure they get. And forcing kids to wear masks is a problem. So one of these days, one of these armed parents is gonna lose it, and shit's gonna get bad. Because this is to me, this is a malicious attempt to cause good people into stick good people into a corner, forcing them to do something rash and something they will probably regret, but they could also, change the future outcome. It's the same thing. I mean, if you have an attack dog, and no matter how nice you raise that attack dog, and no matter how friendly that attack dog is, I guarantee you within a few hours, someone can make that dog bite them. And when they do, they're going to blame the dog. You smack the nicest dog around enough, and he's going to get vicious on you. It's the same thing here, okay? You slap nice people around long enough, and they're gonna lose it. So there's a lot of bad going on. There's just a lot of bad going on. All right, next question. I'm not understanding this. Why are they going so strict on masks and lockdowns? Oh, it's control. I'm still trying to understand your question. So tax revenue is also a form of control. It's not about the tax revenue. If they really look, they care about the tax revenue in that you're giving it to them. It's kind of like, it's like the guy that has a lot of money and he'll just take more. This is like almost the opposite of that. So it's not that they need your tax revenue, is that they need to feel good by taking 50% of your wealth. That's all it is. They can just print the money. They have been printing the money. It's the control factor. It's the control factor that I get to keep 50% of your hard labor and brain power if you're a good investor. It's about that. It's about control over people by taking what they have. It's not about the money. They can just print the money. Lockdowns, it's all about control. They want the vaccine passports, the mandatory boosters are coming, and this time around, there's going to be a government database. They want, besides the fact that they want those profits for the pharmaceutical companies, and besides the fact that they want to change our DNA with gene therapy, with mRNA, besides the fact that they want to alter our DNA, they also want to have full control of where we go and where we stand and where we sit. And the best way to do that is by forcing a vaccine so that they know where everybody is. It's really, it is 1984 out there already. Does your approach to death crosses apply for golden crosses as well? Yes, of course, it's the same. Meaning that if price pulls back into the golden cross, that is an ideal area to go long. Yes, it is. Does that behavior even exist for golden crosses? Yes, it does. Which is ethically more wrong on the part of Australia? Not letting people out or not letting citizens back home? I think they're both equally morally and legally wrong. I'm not going to pick one over the other. Some people want to come back and see their dying parents or aging parents, and they can't. And some people want to get out of that communist nightmare, and they can't. So probably not getting out affects a lot more people. So I'm probably going to go with not letting people out is more ethically wrong, because the number of people that want to come back and are not allowed to come back is tiny. It's not a lot of people. And if your country is doing bad things, very few people want to come back anyway. So 99.5% of the time, people are going to want to get out and they can't, versus trying to get back in and they can't. How the fuck does socialism eventually emerge among superpower nations? It emerges for multiple reasons. And again, socialism, it's about feeling morally superior to others. It's about knowing what's best for others. Socialism eventually leads to communism, which eventually leads to full authoritarian dictatorship. And like I've been saying on the last Q&A, and I've said it on other podcasts, I don't see, I do see communism as the far left. I don't see Nazism as the far right. I don't. To me, Nazism is also the far left. They're all complete tyrannical control over your population. And I don't see that. Like, I didn't see that from the Trump administration. And Trump was technically on the right, though in reality, he was more like an independent. I don't see it as a right or a left. I see it as, is your personality the type that wants total authoritarian dictatorship over other people? And that is the personality of Kamala Harris. That is the personality of Joe Biden, if he still has a personality or is capable of thinking. That is the personality of the majority of the people on the left. That is not the personality of the majority of the people on the right, but there are plenty of people on the right that also have the personality of a total tyrannical control over other people. The more, in my view, the more religious someone is, the more religious someone is, the more they would want control over other people. This is why I'm not a huge fan of religion. I see religion as a form of control. So I would be very cautious on voting for a very religious leader, because that's the personality trait of wanting more control. Now, that's not true for everyone. I know someone like Jimmy Song is religious, and he's also very free market and very libertarian. So it just boils down to the personality of the person. How much control do they want over others versus how much freedom they would like others to have. All right, now it's time to talk some trading. I got a question on trading, and then Mark and I are going to have a little chat about hyperwaves. So let's go and take a look at Australian dollar versus the US dollar. Actually, I have a currency thing here. It's now possible to display the description of a symbol instead of the ticker name. Oh, that's useful. I don't care about shitcoins. Let's go to FX. Australian dollar versus the US dollar. Let's see what's going on. Oh, and the Australian dollar. There's Australian dollars and US dollars, and Australian dollars are puking out a lung. The Australian dollar was very cheap in early 2020. It strengthened. God knows why. They had their strict lockdowns. I guess everyone was hodling the Australian dollars. And now, why on earth would anyone go to this? Well, they can't even go to this nightmare of a country with their lockdowns. I used to like Australia. I don't think I never want to go back there again, ever. Brisbane was in my top 10 cities. I was thinking about like moving to Brisbane for a few months. Love Brisbane. I'm never going there again, ever. Not after what happened in Australia. Unless there is a total revolution in Australia and people bring back the right to bear arms to make sure that this shit doesn't happen again, I don't think I'm ever going back to Australia. It's back to being a prison island. The number one NBA draft pick wants to be paid in Bitcoin. Good for him. Good for him. Smart kid. What can I say? Smart kid. Hopefully he watches my channel. I actually don't even know who the number one pick was. I haven't paid attention to sports at all. Bigger problems in the world. I don't like to get distracted from the world problems. I'd rather fix the world problems. And the way to fix the world problems is to put these tyrannical dictators in prison for life. Bill Gates, Fauci, Biden, Kamala, that's where they belong. They belong in prison. Most of the senators, too, belong in prison. We got to do a news show. Maybe tomorrow. All right, Mark.
Yep.
I don't even think I did a screen share on the Australian dollar. Let me do that now, since I'm going to screen share. Here's the Australian dollar on a weekly scale, and it looks bad. I think the Australian dollar is totally screwed, which means the US dollar will probably keep rising, right? Because other countries like Australia are just shut down, possibly forever and ever and ever. All right, hey, I tried looking at the Bitcoin hyperwave to see if we have another one forming, and I couldn't do it. What about you?
Yeah, I actually do have something. So let me show you something.
I mean, are you on a laptop? Do you want to show screen?
I'm on my desktop. I'm on like a I can probably share the screen.
Shoot over the chart. Shoot over the chart. DM me on Telegram.
All right, so check this out though. The first thing I'm going to show you is I have always believed that there was a hyperwave very, 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 very early on, and it doesn't conform 100% to the rules. But part of what makes it look so weird is phase 4 was nothing but green candles. Like there's no red candle close to even go by. So I'm going to send that to you.
Yeah, can you shoot that over there? Because I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Yeah, hold on.
I'll just pull it up.
See if you can find this. Did you get? It's not hold on.
No, I got it.
Yeah, it's not pulling up the preview though. Oh, you got it. So, and if you look now, my phase 2 is a little bit funky because it's not.
Oh, I'm sorry. What are we looking at here?
This is Bitcoin really early. This is 2013. This is the run.
Oh, that's the 2013 hyperwave. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, Tyler didn't really call it a hyperwave, but this is a hyperwave. There's no other way to look at it. And after the top, it came back to meet up with phase 2 basically and reset, but my phase 2, I fudged a little bit with it. It's not totally hugging the closes of the weeklies like you liked, but now I'll zoom out and show you what I think could be happening now.
I'm not a huge fan of this. Phase 3 is a little short.
Yeah, I know. If anything, like I said, it's not, you know how you talk about the spirit of the nines? I think this is the spirit of the hyperwave. Gotcha. Because the phase 4 is insane, absolutely insane, which is indicative of phase 4. You have
did you send it to me twice?
Yeah, because the first one didn't show the preview, but I'm gonna send you another one too. But see how the phase 4 is just insane, and then there's a drop to a lower high.
Yeah.
And then a straight drop to pick up the phase line. Like it's textbook. It's just not like chart-wise, technically textbook. But now I think we might be able to look at Bitcoin in a larger sweeping hyperwave phase 3. I'll send that to you right now. I just sent it.
Yeah, did I try to draw this the other day?
I think so, but see, I incorporated the whole hyperwave of 2020, or I mean of 2017.
No, I did. Oh, okay. So you're saying that you incorporated that in phase 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, now phase not steep enough for me, and phase 3 is too steep.
Yeah. Phase 2 is I like phase 2 actually. Like phase 2 doesn't have to be super steep. Phase 3 is a little steep, but and also what also doesn't work exactly is where 2 and 3 intersect. Like
right, like it would have been so much better if 3 started in March of 2020.
Yeah. But now there's another thing to consider, just using Tyler's theory in general, is, I mean, anytime you can draw a trend line on weekly closes, whether it's a hyperwave or not, it's very pertinent. So as things stand right now, losing this trend line, which I have as phase 3, is around 34,000. And it's pretty clear that if we drop below 34,000, price is going to go much lower. You know,
right? But we know, we pretty much know where it would go, right? Because phase 3 should really start on March 20th, right? So if you started on March 20th and you connect it to October,
yeah,
you get a nice phase 3 line where prices could still go, which is around 25K, which is where I expected it to go.
me too. Yeah, yeah, and I mean, this is not a popular opinion, but I mean, price hasn't even retraced to the 0.618 yet. Like that'll be at around 51,000. That's going to be a tough area to get through. And there's still some things on higher timeframes I look for confirmation of continuation to new highs. I still think that there's a small chance, maybe 10 to 20% chance. But I'll send you this, exactly what you're describing, and it's primed for a drop to the 20,000s. It's perfect.
Yeah, I don't want to see it drop to 20,000 at this point.
I don't either. I don't. I'm not saying I think it is going to, but there's still some. Oh, I don't think. Hold on.
No, it's like the same thing.
Yeah, it didn't copy the right one. This is what you're talking about, and it's really good. That phase 3 connects March of 2020. See what I'm saying?
All right, hold on. Right, this is much better.
So look, so I'll send you one more thing. This is something that's important that Tyler Tyler, I think, taught us indirectly, is hyperwave or not, a weekly trend line in linear form or even in log scale is important. So now if we lose that red trend line, the green trend line phase 3 is in play. The one I just sent, one more chart.
Right.
Right. So, and that's coming in right now at, yeah, right around 34,000.
So the perfect case scenario is we go to, say, $100 something thousand in 2022. And then we fall back to that trend line without breaking these lows.
That, yeah, you could go to 100,000, drop to 60,000 and still hold that trend line. No problem.
Right, but that would be difficult, right? Because this is a linear chart and 60,000 is here. So it will take, if we zoom this out, let me go to my charts. Let me open my hyperwave. Load chart layout. Hyperwave on Bitcoin. See, I tried my best. So what we're saying is, let's drop this red line. Oh, this was phase 7 from before. So we're going to remove the prior hyperwave.
Yeah, basically connect 3,000 in 2018 to
We have
30.
another one back there, but I'll just leave it. It doesn't bother me. So this is phase one. This is now phase two.
Yeah.
I need to, of course, adjust it so that, oh, no, not there. Like that. This becomes phase two. I can make it, I want to make it as steep as I can. This is phase two. That's phase one. That's a decent phase one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
And now we are in phase three.
and remember, not all phase threes turn into a hyperwave.
Right. So now I want to make this as steep as I legally can.
So leading into the halving of 2025, yeah, you could be at, or 2024, I mean, it's in March, around March of
So
2024.
I'm gonna make this as steep as I legally can, which is touching the edge there and not breaking these candles. And the reason I'm making it as steep as I can is so that we can come back and touch this trend line, because I don't want to break these lows. And it's still not steep enough for me, because time is eventually going to run out, right? So this thing should not be like double the length of phase two. So technically this can't last that long. We can maybe last till the end of 2022. And then it's almost a double bottom. So now if price comes into this line, we can then have a moonshot in phase four. Right off the line. Like that. So phase four would be quick. Oh, that's only 70,000. Right.
Phase four could start after the halving of 2024. I mean, that would make the most.
Yeah, or going into or the speculation for the halving of 2024.
Yeah, it usually starts ramping up into the halving.
So early 2024, we have a phase four. Oh, am I on log? No, I'm on linear charts. I mean, a phase four would have to be massive. It would have to be like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it would do.
So 250,000. So we can go up to like 100 something thousand, and then work our way down back to 50, and then just boom, shoot up from 50 to 250,000.
Yeah. And
within a few months. So December 20, so December until November is way too much time.
The next halving is lining up around March of 2024.
Yeah. So something like that, December to July.
Yeah. And then you just got to hope it runs back into the lower phase line again. But regardless, there's still an important weekly trend line to be following, connecting October to July.
You mean this to this?
Yeah, regardless if it's part of the hyperwave, I will always draw like Well, and so there was another one that was broken, which is why price dropped. You could even draw. So basically, I'll kind of show you what I'm looking at.
All right,
Either
after
on,
that, we're gonna have to get going. Oh yeah, I see it. You just sent it to me.
yeah, they're either on linear or log. Anytime you can get a weekly trend line connecting, 2 or 3 spots, it just becomes an important thing to watch, because when it's lost, price will drop to the next level. That's just something I learned from Tyler outside of hyperwave.
Gotcha. All right, thanks for that. I'm gonna get N, and then here he has a question. Raise his hand. Go ahead, man.
Oh, hi, Tone. I've been, it's hard. This is a hard one because I'm still in cash, but let's forget about that. I've been wondering, like, around the 50K region, people are saying, "Oh, that's where the dead cat bounce will come," and I did some exploration around the 2013 model, and I noticed that there wasn't no death cross in the 2013 model, which could imply that this model right now could be more towards the 2018 model, where, I don't know, a dead cat bounce could come very, very soon.
Like, I don't think so, because look, in 2018, we lost the 200-day moving average. Here, we held it. Oh, sorry, so weekly. Sorry, that's not 200. That's the 50-week moving average, since I'm looking at the weekly chart. In 2018, the 50-week moving average was held, but then it was lost. Right now, we held the moving average. So let me zoom out. Let me turn this off.
Hey, Tone.
Yeah.
So I understand what he's saying, but there's one key thing that I showed you before, which is the drop to 28K took price right to the 1.618 fib, and that has held. That held in 2013, and that held in 2017 as well. That's a one really big difference between now.
I'm not following the fib part. So if I take the fib and I put it down here and I go to there.
This was connecting here. Hold on. So check your Telegram. It's a really cool chart, actually.
Okay. What am I looking at? Oh, the extension, the 1.618, not 0.618.
Yeah, 1.618.
The extension fib. The extension fib held after breaking the extension fib. That's nice.
And when the weekly, so there's something happening on 2-day that I just sent you. The 2-day 200 simple moving average is right now crossing above the 1.618, and that is what took 2013 and 2017 into that next hyperphase. It's a black. It's the last one I sent you with a black moving average.
Yeah. So that black moving average is what?
That's a 2-day 200 simple.
2-day 200. Okay.
And that held the drop, and it's crossed above the 1.68 now. And so it's lined up. I mean, yes, this can be a bull trap easily, but the fact that the 1.618 is still intact keeps the dream alive, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah, so to me, if I just go back here, yeah, we lost the 50-week moving average, and then shit got bad. Here
But we held the 50-week EMA. That's the green chart that I showed you. No, I
well,
didn't
we
send
also
it to you.
held the 50-week SMA as well.
Yeah, yeah.
We held it. Now in 2013, we never even came close to it.
No.
So
usually when price taps the 50-week EMA after a top, it's not good. So that's an argument for the bull trap case. It usually doesn't hold over time. So
you can also see how we lost that moving average back in 2011.
yeah, now check this out too. So you know how we were looking at the hyperwave weekly trend line at 35K that has to hold. The 1.618 level is right around 32,000. So losing 32 to 35,000 is going to dismantle the structure.
Yeah, I don't
And
think
then
we're losing that. I think we're going to new all-time highs.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying that that's what would strengthen the bull trap argument if price can't push above 51,000, 52,000, something like that.
All right. Any other questions?
Tony, you see the tapering stuff, is that actually going to happen, or it's just like
What is
nonsense? The tapering, you know, when the Fed, they announced they're going to do some tapering this year.
I mean, probably. I mean, they're probably going to raise the rates. I don't think it's going to matter, though.
Really?
They're
I
only
thought-
going to raise the rates if it doesn't matter. If it matters, they're not going to do it.
But I thought this, like, you know, like Tether printing and all of that stuff, it's just like artificially inflating all markets, especially like crypto and stuff. So wouldn't that pull back crypto? Or
What if the interest rate rises by a 1/4%? No, no. That's not how markets. That's not really.
no, as in
how
like they stop. No, as in like they stop stimulus payment, bond purchases, asset purchases.
No, they're not going to do that.
Oh.
Look, the Federal Reserve does whatever it can to keep propping up the economy. If it's going to slow down the economy, they're not going to do it. This is how the US is in trouble to begin with. All right, let me see. We got a request to look at Amazon. And I might have to call it a day after that, guys. Amazon Weekly looks very bad. Amazon Daily looks like it's a 1 to 4 candle correction coming up. But yeah, it's fallen quite a bit, but we just lost the support line after a very nasty earnings on Amazon. So I would only look for a 1 to 4 candle correction to the upside, followed by more downside. I'm gonna text my friends.
Hey, Ton,
Yep.
how hard do you think will be the $50,000 price target to be broken? Like it has gone to 48K twice and it has fallen down. So how, like, that is not far away from the 50K?
You mean we already came close to the 50K area, so why am I not seeing it go way down, right?
No, like how hard will be the 50K resistance?
Not hard at all.
Yeah, that was what I was expecting, because it has gone to closer to that price.
Yeah, not hard at all. Like it, and by 50, I probably mean 51 or 52.
Okay.
There really is no resistance at 50. There was a double top area at 48. And there is the prior, bounce right here. And they're not very strong at all.
Hey, Tone.
Yep.
Do you have time for one more quick thing?
Yeah, what's up?
All right, here. I want to show you the one of the things that I'm watching, keeping me cautious. Why this is like right in prime past history bull trap territory. On the 2-week Bollinger Band, I look for the price to get back above the base, the middle band, which now it's spending its 3rd week above it. But you can see that after the parabolic tops, you have that big bounce above it and can even hold above it for a few weeks. And ultimately it fails.
Mm-hmm.
And the price is right in that area right now. So the next couple of weeks are really pretty key.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I'm looking at that MRI top coming in on a weekly, because in a couple of days we're gonna be on a weekly 6? Yeah.
And now I'll show you one. I'll add one thing to this that is concerning, because I track the 21 EMA in relation to the middle Bollinger Band 20 SMA all the time. And on any time frame, when the 21 crosses below the 20, you get a really good chance of getting to the bottom Bollinger Band. And so I added that on this chart, and we got the cross below that several candles ago. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 candles ago. And now this is 100% in the history of Bitcoin. When that has happened on 2-week, the price has gone to the bottom Bollinger Band, which is climbing up quickly. It's at 18,000 now. It'll be close to 20,000 probably on the next close. So that yellow moving average has to cross back above 42,000 before, or price has to be at new all-time highs before that. But I don't like that cross at all.
Yeah, but what about, the late 2016, early 2017 period?
Yeah, I mean, it basically bounced off of, it never crossed below. It basically lived on it for several candles, but it never crossed below, at least not enough to see space and get a few candles
right
below the band. You never saw it close below the middle band during that time.
Right.
I mean, this is prime post top bull trap land. And the 2-week chart, I think, is really key to watch. But once the 21 EMA can cross back above the middle band, I'll have a lot more confidence that 60Ks are in play. You would need to hold 43,000 for that to happen.
All right.
Do you think
very
price?
cool.
Do you think price is going to hold 43,000? For the next 2-3 weeks?
I think so.
I kind of do too. If so, it gets pretty bullish, in my opinion.
All right. Thanks for the charts, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. Hey, I gotta get going. Thanks for hanging out in this Q&A. I'm gonna try to do another one maybe this weekend if I can. I know I skipped out last week, and we're gonna end the recording here. I don't think I showed any of my stuff, but for those interested, the private Q&A can be found right there. Vays products and services, private QA. You can also purchase the MRI indicator or on-demand workshops. That is, of course, my calendar of where I'm traveling to. Need to add St. Louis. And after that, BitBlock Boom. And join us in Dubai for Understanding Bitcoin. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. And I will see you all on the next one.
Later, Tone.
Later, guys. All right, guys, welcome back to this private Q&A session for Saturday, August 21st, also known as Bitcoin Infinity Day. All right, let's go to the charts. We got a bunch of questions that have to do with the MRI and trading the MRI. Let's go take a look at a bunch of stocks. Whoa. CBRE did well on Friday. Oh, yeah, I saw it on Friday. It's one of the stocks that my friends were trading. Let's look. Patrick, thanks so much for all the answers. I'm going to give you talk privileges, if you like, so that
Okay.
if you have anything to add, or maybe I'll just pull up a stock and you tell me what you see. So
Well,
the first one is ON.
Yeah, these are all semiconductor stocks. Semiconductor is very cyclical business. It's usually like a 4 or 5 month cycle.
Wow, this is great. What a perfect MRI top on a daily chart. Did you get in on this on Friday?
No. I guess I was kind of spooked by everything. Everything was kind of chaotic on Friday because I guess there's some news announcements by the Fed.
Gotcha. Yeah, because this is actually pretty neat looking, and whenever you got into this position, if you did get into this position on Friday, stop loss is very, very clean below the swing low. With whatever target, I'm guessing target can come all the way up to the MRI resistance line. It's a very beautiful risk reward on that one, or very low risk trade. That's a good one. Yeah, I would be bullish here, but we will see where the market opens on Friday. That's a nice one. Next, we have INTC.
Yeah, this is Intel. So it's only a Reddit 7, but there's a MRI buy on weekly. So
right, the MRI buy on weekly. However, the MRI buy on weekly has already been negated. Pretty much, right? You have gone lower than that. There was never any strength. You never really had the opportunity to get into a trade. You now have a new swing low close, a new swing low, and potentially, if there was some strength on the MRI daily buy next week, there could be an opportunity. But I mean, this thing has gone down quite a bit. And I really don't see much bullishness here. I would be very careful with this one.
Okay.
This one is not, but maybe remind me like mid next week to take a look at it again off the daily MRI buy. Okay. Cree, let's see what's going on with this one. Oh, wow. I don't know. I would feel like I'm a little bit late. If you have not gone into this yet, did you buy in?
No, no.
See, like the move, it did crash on earnings, and now it can close the gap, and then it could go back down. I don't know. I would feel like I'm chasing this because look, the reversal candle already came. People panic sold. You can see the bullishness come back. Do I have volume up? Yeah. You can see the bullishness come back, not with a lot of volume, unfortunately. And now you have the MRI warning. So by the time the MRI candle comes, the reversal has already taken place. So same thing over here. Nice top call by the MRI. A little bit, late by a day, but that's okay. So I don't know. I wouldn't rush into it. I would look for other opportunities, but this thing can certainly go up. Let's zoom out. On a zoom out, it actually looks good. Very long consolidation, eventually broke out. What a beautiful breakout right here. This is almost a perfect trade. Has nothing to do with the MRI, but this is almost a perfect trade. After a long consolidation and a double top, it breaks out, and now it pulls back perfectly, almost perfectly, back to the breakout area, but pretty much perfectly to the breakout area. So yeah, I would be leaning bullish on this asset. You can see how this breakout was very significant, going back a decade. That was like a hyperwave right there in 2000, and it just made a new all-time high. So whatever this company's been doing the last 20 years, I mean, they're improving. I mean, anytime a stock hits a new, they're underperforming the overall stock market, most likely, but clearly they have a decent business. It's been rising for the last 20 years. And finally, a breakout back test. This thing can definitely go higher on a longer term basis. Time in its short term, however, is interesting. And there's probably better trades out there, but I would lean bullish here. If it breaks 95, if it goes back to 100, this thing can easily go way up.
Okay.
All right, I'm on a weekly scale. Yep. Any comments?
Yeah. No. It's just a company I'm familiar with from a previous job, so that's why I kind of threw it in there.
Gotcha. So I like this consolidation on a weekly scale, Lam Research Corporation, but this current candle, however, is making a new swing low and a new low close and a red star candle. So from a weekly perspective, it's not looking all that great. On a daily scale, it is coming off an MRI buy, but this is now a nasty bearish candle. So I would actually be bearish here, not bullish. You can see how the MRI support lines had this thing completely bracketed for a while. And if on Monday, this thing is trading lower than the current lows, it would be a red star candle. And I'm assuming you've watched my videos on the MRI?
Yeah, yes.
So this is the kind of situation that is ripe for completing the extensions of the MRI, going into extension B, extension C, extension A, B, and C. So if this thing is trading lower than these two candles, to me, this is a potential short play instead of a long play. And this is what people don't understand about the MRI, is that it's not always means a buying opportunity. This is why I always talk about the 1 to 4 candle correction, reversal, and then reevaluate. So I would actually look at this asset as bearish instead of bullish.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yes.
Next, TSM. Ooh, same thing. TSM had a beautiful candle reversal. I would not have faulted anyone for buying in on this day, but then Friday completely negated that. Now, had I gone long on Thursday, watching it on Friday, I probably would have cut my losses. and said, you know what, the trade didn't work, but the support line is still holding. So if I was holding this asset, it's the same exact analysis as the prior stock. If we go lower than last week's lows on a weekly scale, this is very likely to continue down into a weekly MRI buy, into hitting the weekly support line, and most likely the daily extensions. So once again, to me, based on what happened on Friday, this is more of a bearish trade than a bullish trade.
Okay.
Ahmad. All right, it had its earnings announcement with the MRI buy. This candle is not as bad as the other two. Very similar pattern. Are these things in like a similar industry?
Yeah, yes, they're all semiconductor. So they kind of
Okay, that's why
together.
that's why they all look the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, this same analysis pretty much. This one can go either way, really. I would just wait. If we start going higher, this could be a reversal. If we start going lower, definitely a shorting opportunity here. The analysis is similar because they're similar industry.
Okay. So,
All right.
so the rest are just kind of random industries.
Yep.
Amazon's.
Amazon, yeah, we looked at Amazon. I like Amazon here. I don't like the fact that it broke the support line, which tends to indicate lower prices. That's a pretty good candle. That's a bad candle. But Amazon Weekly, I believe, did not look good at all. Right, Amazon Weekly would scare me from going long in this asset. The weekly is still looking pretty bearish, halfway down into an MRI buy. We're about the daily. The daily looks promising. So yeah, I'd be bullish here. Would have been a scary candle right here of the second MRI buy. But if you held through it, yeah, I think this looks good on a daily, but be careful. That weekly can certainly cause a little bit of havoc. But yeah, I would be bullish this going into the week. Maybe a few more upsides, and then you got to really watch that weekly chart. You want to get your assets lined up, you know, daily and weekly. You want to get your ducks in a row. You want to go long daily while the weekly is bullish. You really don't want to go long daily while the weekly is bearish. It's very hard to successfully trade like that long term.
Yeah. Seems like the best trades are where there's both a daily and a weekly MRI buy, where they kind of coincide.
Yeah, coinciding is awesome.
Yeah.
So Tilray, I gotta go through these a little bit faster. Apparently someone's coming to pick me up. So I like it here. I like Tilray here on a daily. I think I already warned my friends about this happening. And on a weekly scale, we're also coming in. Wow, Tilray could be that perfect combination of weekly and daily buys, considering how much it's fallen recently. That could be a nice one.
Okay. Yeah, it has both the weekly and the daily. So that's good.
Yeah, that was good. All right, and you got a few more here. What do we got here? JMIA. Yeah, I've been following this one on my live streams. Looks perfect. Looks absolutely perfect. The daily MRI buy was perfect, and the weekly is happening next week with a warning now. Yeah, I would be. I hope my friends got long on Friday. I don't know if they did though. This looks like a great setup. Zoom, let's see what's going on. Another nice reversal off the MRI buy. What a perfect MRI sell. What a perfect MRI buy. Jesus, and another MRI sell. Oh my God, have you been trading this?
No, I wish I had.
Wow. I need to take a screenshot of this. Holy shit. Yeah, so I need to launch my notification service because these are the kinds of things that would be nice to fully be aware of as it's actually happening.
Yeah. I think with some fairly rudimentary software behind it.
Yeah, no, that was actually a huge effort. It's actually not simple.
Oh, no, well, I guess it's, I don't know. In the big scale, I guess it would cost a couple $100,000 to do it, but
Yeah, no, it did cost a couple of $100,000, or at least 100,000. Yeah, what a beautiful pullback back to the breakout area. I didn't even know that happened. That's an old line that I had. And yeah, I'd be bullish on Zoom, even though Zoom has some competition. I was on someone's StreamYard stream the other day, and it's so much better than Zoom. I need to stop paying Zoom ridiculous money and switch over to StreamYard. All right. NIO, that's a stock, right?
Yeah.
Weekly is still a little bit bearish, but the daily, yeah. I potentially risk it. I don't like how it broke the MRI support line. So it's possible to go into the extension phase to time with the weekly MRI buy. But it's, you know, bullish Harami. Stop loss is very easy, right under 36 bucks. I think there's better opportunities though, like Zoom and JMIA and Tilray. I think they're better. I think they're better lined up. Two left. ARC. See, ARC is hard because ARC is hard to time with the syndicator, and I of course stand corrected with the perfect MRI top and a perfect MRI top, and guess what? You bounce right off the support line. Yeah, I mean, what else can we say? Beautiful. This one would have been tricky. This one would have been very tricky. I would have been pissed. I would have been stopped out, and then it would have ran without me. But that's another one that deserves a screenshot. Jeez. Yeah, I got my old trading buddies finally started taking the MRI seriously, so they're finally using it. So beautiful screenshot. Yeah, I like this. Looks great. And DGS, last one. I like the bullishness here with the two charts. Let's take a look at the volume. The volume isn't great, but it's too, I don't like the gaps. This is too volatile for my taste. Emerging market, small cap. I don't know, I'd stay away from it. All right.
okay, thanks.
What's up?
Thank you.
All right, that was a big review. Let me close these. And all right, let's go on with the rest of the questions. Oh, we have another one. Jovi, thank you for joining us. HYLN. Let's take a look at this. Very nice. Extension C, MRI warning, monthly MRI top, however. So you want to be careful with, oh, sorry, monthly MRI buy, not top, bottom. Monthly MRI bottom. Whoa, what is this? This thing did nothing in forever. And then it went up and it must have split. And now it's way down. Let's go to the daily chart. It must have had a split somewhere. Had to. Surprised there's no split. Interesting. This thing is back below its initial consolidation. That is rare. Beautiful MRI top here. This one did not work out. Went all the way down. Completed all three extensions. That's good. I like this. This is a nice low price stock with a monthly MRI buy. How's it doing on a weekly? Weekly. Wow. Good find. Weekly, monthly, and daily lining up. That's impressive. Good job, Jovi. That is impressive. I don't know if you want to say anything, but I can give you talk privileges. Just raise your hand. Deserves another screenshot. This is great. Should have my friends open a hedge fund and then I take a cut on these screenshots I'm sending them. This has a daily and weekly and monthly That's great. Nice. I like it. I like it. I actually hope they trade it. I'm gonna tell them to trade it. I wonder if it has options. The guy who wrote this code, he'd love this. This is what he did. This is all he did. He would only enter trades if it's at least a daily and a weekly lined up. This is all he did. He was doing it on the Indian stock market, and he was doing it with options. And then India was banned from trading options, and now he was like so devastated because that's how he made his money. But yeah, this would be like right in his wheelhouse. Great find. All right, here we go. We got a bunch of non-trading questions, which I actually like. Stop the screen sharing. All right, I'm gonna try to go through them quickly. Do you think Joe Biden not interfering in Afghanistan Taliban thing is a good decision by a bad leader? See, here's my problem with your question. I don't believe that he's not interfering in the Taliban thing. I honestly believe that Joe Biden's administration, which is borderline controlled by the Chinese, possibly, I would be surprised. I don't think they're not interfering. I think they're assisting. So if he wasn't interfering at all, I would agree with it. But I believe that they are assisting ISIS and the Taliban because that's how much I think of the Democratic and the left-wing party. Why is milk bad for us? I don't think it's all that bad. How does it break down our bones? Well, no, milk is actually helping your bones. Has good vitamin D as well. I mean, there's nothing, I don't think there's anything wrong with milk. I prefer raw milk, natural milk, not pasteurized milk. And I was like, oh, it just flash pasteurizes and it tastes like terrible. If you ever tasted raw milk, it tastes nothing like pasteurized milk. I don't care if the pasteurization process takes half a second, it completely alters the taste of the milk. So the only milk that I would drink is from a cow that only ate its natural diet, which is grass. That milk would be unpasteurized, and I would be way more okay with that. I try not to drink altered milk. What's really bad is skim milk. Skim milk is horrible. Low-fat milk, skim milk, they are absolutely horrendous. But pure milk or cream, ideally I prefer unpasteurized unpasteurized milk. It's my preference. Oh, the pillow that I mentioned a while back. Yeah, of course it's for all ages. Yeah. It's, yeah, you gotta get one of those memory foam pillows that makes you lie on the side. I gotta get a picture of that again. Yeah, but if you know which pillow I mentioned in the past, yeah, of course it's for all ages. I don't know about kids, but like it's for all adults. When a liquidity crisis occurs, like when COVID happened, all financial markets panic, right? Do you think money can be printed for short term to avoid the pain? That's a very complicated question. What's worse, printing for short-term duration or letting the markets crash or let the free market decide? We've argued this. We actually talked about this on Ugly Old Goats conference. I hope it was recorded and the videos come out. That was this is going to be too long to explain. The original design of the Federal Reserve was to do just that. It was to buy short-term debt of corporations that needed to not to fail. I'm not going to say that we're too big to fail, but I'm just going to say industries that would have been devastating if they fail. a lot of jobs and other stuff. So they had the ability to quasi-print money in the form of, credit and loans to industries to stay open, but then those industries would have to pay that back, assuming they chose wisely. They left them open and they profited later on. They would pay that money back, kind of like what the government did with the PPP loans for the general public, only it was just a giant mess because it was done by the government. This needs to be done by the private sector, which can be more efficient. So I don't see an inherent problem. I see an inherent problem of printing money and handing it out, but I don't see a big deal if an event like that occurs that wasn't caused maliciously, that the Federal Reserve does its job, keep certain companies afloat and giving them a chance to repay that money back, hence canceling the debt. So in the long term, no new money was actually created. All right, we got 3 more. I agree with you, interest rates don't matter. They're very low. Then why does Fed statements affect the market so much? What's the rationale? They affect the market on a very short-term basis. You see people just panic, and a lot of it is like bot trading that try to read into the statements. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on there that causes market to have volatility. But changing the interest rate from 0.5% to 1% means absolutely nothing. What's worse, according to you, wheat or rice? Wheat is probably worse. And by the way, why is gluten bad exactly? Gluten causes a lot of inflammation. Our body was never really designed to process gluten. I mean, I'm not really a medical professional, but you want to read some of the books. I mean, there is lots of books out there that explain medically why gluten is so bad for us. Long-term view on tickers. BSC or NSC, India. We can take a look at the Indian market. Indian market looks great. Hey, if India is the first country to go full ivermectin to resolve their COVID problem, then hey, I wouldn't be surprised if their industries are doing well. They don't have to shut down. Their industries could work. They could be doing production. Thailand shut down, Vietnam shut down. India can take over production with cheap labor, textiles, everything. So yeah, I'm not surprised the Indian stock market is doing well. Look at that, all-time high. Huge all-time high. Indian stock market rebounded better than the US stock market. What are you, up 100%? Up 100% since the crash? 120. That beats the US stock market a lot. You're doing well. Let's see what the VIX looks like. All right, last question, and then we're gonna take a look at a stock. Thanks, Jovi. Long. Oh yeah, I already looked at that. Okay, cool. Yep, we're gonna look at it now. CSPR. Ooh, this looks bad. Weekly chart looks horrible. You had your MRI buy on a weekly, but it did not materialize, and this week broke the MRI support line. What about the daily? See, the daily is not an MRI buy, but I would be very careful here because of the weekly chart. But at the same time, I mean, how much lower can this stock go? So I would watch it a little bit. I mean, the weekly is still on an MRI buy, and I always give the second candle a chance. I just hate the fact that it broke the support line. So what I would do is I would wait for the daily chart to break the top of these candles, and then I would consider it. Oh, my screen share is off. Thank you. Oh, it was off for the Nifty as well. Damn it. Okay, so here's the daily chart. I'm not confident in the samurai buy. The weekly was last week, and then we went lower this week. So I would just stay patient. But if it breaks the top of Thursday's candle, I would then consider it a buying opportunity because it is a very low price stock. So your risk is very limited on how far this thing would actually fall. Because here's the weekly chart, and I just don't like that. And if we go back to Nifty, yeah, I was looking at this 100% rise, which is awesome. And it looks very bullish on the weekly chart. Daily had a bad day, but on Friday, but the weekly chart looks great. Very bullish on Nifty. Ah, you didn't enter it for those reasons. That's perfect. The CS trade. Were you here earlier? We went through a bunch of tickers. All right, guys, this was great. Thank you for watching. And since this is going to go live, people can learn, or it's going to go open tomorrow. People can learn trading if you're interested for free on Vays.com. Learn trading, products and services. We have this Q&A that people were asking questions in. Please read the page before signing up. We also have the on-demand videos. Of course, the MRI indicator and the conferences are up for sale. Understanding Bitcoin coming up in Dubai, and something for traders and hedge funds. In November, the financial summit is going to happen in Dubai as well. And of course, I'm off screen share, so nobody saw that. Jovi got in late. All right. It'll publish tomorrow, so it's okay. Markets are closed anyway. There'll be lots and lots of assets shown on this. All right. I'm always messing it up. Financial Summit, Understanding Bitcoin, and of course, my website, MRI indicator, on-demand videos, private Q&A, and the free Learn Trading section. All right, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all on the next one.